Pardon my mixed martial arts here, but why are Kong's feet covered in
ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Playmates Monsterverse, Ferocious Kong, and City Destruction Godzilla. Playmates fires back in the face of worry with their GVK successor line, Monsterverse, which according to them will be a broadened line featuring the major titans from the Monsterverse so far. So today we get an updated Skull Island design from them and their first 2014 Goji, so let's see how they did. Alright, let's call them in. Doctor, if you will.
I won't enjoy the fresh cut, my G. Well, looky here, we have another monkey. Kind do not appreciate a force snip. Kind another force snip. And slightly dirty force snip. Oh, dear. And one finally real snip. Come on, monkey. Yeah, how many monkey you actually have now, Rob?
Honestly, man, way too much.
At least this monkey look nice. And now we won't slice. Balloon Slice too, yes. Balloon Jordan Peel, balloon accessory.
Hey Doc, out of curiosity, what happened to your assistant that used to slice all the stuff?
He won't be, Snape, yes.
Did you kill him?
Good heavens, no. He opened up Italian restaurant on 34th.
Oh, alright, we should order from him sometime.
My own sustenance is the Snape only. My home time is short. I must sneep the lizard. Und for Schneep, two for Schneep. Come with me, und lizard. Oh, look at that. It's a little pipe. Oh. Is that good, son? I was wouldn't say that we slice, but I guess we just pull. Jordan Peele? Und accessory. I won't thank you for your time and patronage. I will see you all next time. Bosny!
I feel bad for the guy. He's been waiting for this since New Year's Eve. I had to throw him a bone, huh? But anyway, let's take a look at these figures now, shall we? Up first, we'll take a look at MONKE, since we're so familiar with the MONKE build at this point. Or are we? We'll find out. When it comes to the basics of MONKE, we've seen this build before, maybe not quite like this, but let's focus on the head over here. I think I'd definitely go as far to say that the head is probably the newest thing about all of this. It's a lot smaller than the GVK Kong head. The mouth is open. The teeth are much more defined. The gums are actually painted, albeit a little too perfectly. But oh, MONKE's eyes over here. Dear Lord. Kinda missed the mark with the application of the eyes. But hey, for the most part, when it comes to the detail on this Coog head, he do be looking pretty dang fresh. And we've got about the same amount of fur detail we've gotten on other Kong figures from Playmates. The arms do appear to be a little bit on the longer side as compared to that of the GVK MONKE arms. We've got the very same scarring on MONKE's chest over here with some foreign paint stains, it almost looks like. Upsetting. And you know, we got the battle damage arm with all the same details as the other arm. Yet again, these four arms looking a little bit longer than the GVK one. And when it comes to just the overall visceral of Kong's appearance, it's pretty muted. I would rather have something like this than something that was just too bright for Kong, but you know, it's a thing. And we're going to get the exact same kind of fur detail that we got on the rest of the body, on the legs, except pardon my mixed martial arts here, but why are Kong's feet covered in coom? Like, I know what they were going for here, but let's just take a look at the back of the box. Yeah, you know, that would have looked a hell of a lot better than what we got. I think we all know this by now, but just in case somebody doesn't, this look for Kong, including his accessories, is entirely based on how he looked during the final fight in Kong Skull Island when he was fighting the giant Skullcrawler. This is meant to be mud. It really doesn't look like mud. But even with an improper color, the details are still there and everything still does look good. And it does rather nicely break up the very muted tones of Kong. I feel like if they had gone with even like a darker brown, it might have actually just gotten lost in all of this. So maybe this was a smarter thing to do. Again, I am mostly just impressed with the new head that they gave Kong. It looks fantastic and absolutely walks circles around Battle Axe Kong. I mean, shoutouts to Playmates. This is a total glow up as compared to this. This makes me like Open Mouth Kong. This, I mean, come on, you can understand why I don't like that. Way better. And I think this, yeah, his head is definitely smaller on this build. But we're gonna take a look at this guy in a quick second after all of this, though. Just to quickly cover everything, we have some line work on the knuckles, looking really nice. The fur detail on the rubber wrists and the wrinkles on the hands are okay, not the best. The fur is definitely better than the wrinkles, as the wrinkles are kinda just lost, but at least we can still see the fingernails. The muscle tone and skin rolls over here on the back of Kong is rather nice. Did you think I would forget? Look at those monkey cheeks! Absolutely fantastic. Yes, the monkey cheeks are definitely there. They feel exactly the same. The definition is there. There's even fur in between the cheeks. It's looking pretty dang good. Now, the eyes are a bit finicky, and this doesn't match the back of the box, but I do so overall think that this is a very positive build for Kong. So I'm going to give both paint and detail a solid star. Mind you, these are $10 to $12 figures. We really shouldn't be expecting too much from Playmates at this point, and even then, I still think they have vastly improved on their Kong figures since the release of the first Skull Island and GVK Kongs. Now let's take a look at Monkey's accessories. He comes with a green helicopter. Very nicely detailed, not painted, but I really don't think we should expect painted vehicles from Playmates at this point unless they're going to be a lot bigger. But now this is serviceable for something for kids to throw around and just put in Kong's hand and such. It's more so when it comes to his scorpion chain propeller over here, where I really have to give Playmates some praises. The painting and detail on the propeller and chain are truly some of their best work. Yeah, do I wish most of this love and care went into some of their figures? Absolutely, but still, this is a lot better than I was expecting. And upon the first showcasing of this figure, I was impressed then, and I am still impressed now. Very, very cool. Honestly, it's really nice that we finally got this as an accessory for Kong, and hey, we got a brand new vehicle too, Double Winnie. Now when it comes to applying this industrial daisy over here, it's made of a very soft and rubbery material, much like Kong's hand, so you can really just squeeze it in there and not have to be, you know, delicate with it. Kong's really not going to hold it the best, and it is just either going to weigh the wrist down to the point where it kind of falls over, or like that, or this is simply just going to wilt over time. So if you're going to have Kong posed with this, I recommend having it posed down like so. And the back of the box shows that this part is supposed to be facing this way. You could turn it any which way and it'll look just fine. Honestly, the same could really be said for this little Hekiocopter over here. Just squeeze it into Kong's hand. You don't have to worry about nothing. Monkey copter. And lest we forget, we can take off the battle damaged skin over here, furry paint, and then we have the red paint for the battle damage. Nothing too crazy. Looks like the battle damage might have actually taken a hit in terms of quality. Now it is time for some monkey ticulation. He can go all the way around at the head, and when I was messing with the figure while it was still in the box, I thought we had seen a return of the ball joint at the head. We have not. It is just a swivel. Nothing looking up or down. The arms can go all the way around and have a flappy motion. At the elbow, you can bend in about that far and out about that far. You will be able to swivel at the wrist. On both sides, Kong can kick up about this far and back about that far, which isn't very far. Oh, cheeks. He can bend in at the knee like so, and he can bend out, giving him the broken leg feature. And since there is a ball joint up here, the legs can indeed swivel, and they can move all the way out yet again. Very, very nice. I'm going to give good old Monkey a solid star in terms of articulation. Now, upon first glance at this figure when it was first revealed, I thought, okay, so they just repainted a GVK Kong and gave him some new accessories. That's fine. Turns out that's not at all what this is. As you can see, in terms of stature, GVK Kong is more on the thick side with a lot more muscles, and believe it or not, shorter arms. I mean, you can see it right here. Young Monkey over here got the longer arms, and he's not as built with this body. I thought maybe new head, same body, same arms, different paint, that's it. But you can tell that these are two different bodies, but this isn't a wholly new body, I think. Because, in my humble opinion, I'm thinking the torso that Ferocious Kong is rocking is actually just a retooled 6-inch Skull Island Kong torso. Why do I think that? They both have the major same outlines with their ribs and with their abs over here. For whatever reason, this mold of Kong had the belly button really down low towards his crotch, and with these, they don't match up perfectly now that I really look at it, but they're still a lot lower than GVK Kong's belly button. And clearly with the cutting over here, that was completely changed since it's now just a ball joint and not just a cork. As you can see, belly button indentation over here, belly button indentation over here. Completely different torso. And when it comes to the face, realistically, I think it's just a size down 11-inch Kong head. I mean, it works perfectly fine, so no shade thrown there. For the most part, I think all the changes that were made for this figure were made for the better. It's a nice Skull Island Kong figure, and I really don't have any complaints. If I had to make a complaint, and I'm talking like nitpick status here, maybe give him some light brown paint all over the fur to kind of differentiate the skin from the fur. That way you can repaint the mud to actually look like mud and not Alrighty, and now it's time for Godzilla 2014. Now, as far as what this figure could be based on, it's probably one of the destruction scenes from 2014, or just one of the many posters that shared this orange hue. It really doesn't bother me that he's got orange all over him and he's not called Burning Godzilla. It's a stylistic paint choice that Playmates chose to take. It makes sense to me. It's really not that big of a deal. For the first time in a pretty long while, when it comes to Playmates Godzilla, when you look at him head on, he really doesn't look all that doofy. In fact, I actually think he looks pretty dang good, to be completely honest. You've got the nostrils, you've got the brow, it's all there. My only problem with this figure is this. Man's got one tiny lower jaw, and it just doesn't look right when you have it closed. He looks pained a little bit. I feel like it needed just a little bit more to fully match up with the upper jaw. As you can see, he's got one hell of an overbite, but when the mouth is open, I think it looks just fine. Yet again, we are seeing quite a lot of detail here, especially from Playmates. And the detail really is everywhere. I do have to give Playmates credit for it. They definitely jacked our boy up. The detail on the dorsal fins over here ain't half bad. It's nothing to write home about, but it's still good. And they are all coated in a very cheap orange paint. And I say cheap because, I mean, this guy was in the box and you can already see minor rub off on there. And honestly, I'm really not too bummed about it because, yeah, it's a kid's toy and it was something that I was just outwardly expecting upon release. Now, when it comes to his thick as heck tail over here, the orange is essentially going to stop right here, and as the tail goes on, it's just going to be the base color for the figure. Normally, I'd pitch a tent about this, but it's a very situational paint job that was just meant to have an orange glow on him. He's not charging up a red spiral beam or anything like that. It's, yet again, a situational paint job. Wasn't expecting grade A stuff with this. It's a Playmates toy, $10 to $12, completely different expectations. Let's move on. And realistically, that's about the only paint we're going to be getting on this figure, just orange. Yeah, we're going to be getting it in a plethora of different places, be it on the leg, be it on the crotch, the thigh, the arms, and the titties. Wow, I'm surprised they even painted orange on the inside of the arms over here. Oh wow, wait, on both sides no less. Hey, good show there, Playmates. And you know, we'll have a light glow of it over here on his arm, as you saw before on this arm as well, but what I really want to point out is just the detail on these arms. They're very nice and thick and chunky. And something that I love a lot is that they beefed up his hands as well, and they look almost webbed, which I do appreciate and approve. I ain't no Godzilla historian. I don't know if that's fully accurate or not, but I don't care. It just matches his character. 2014 was a chunky boy. I don't know if he was exactly this chunky, but honestly, I don't care. It looks nice. I mean, dang, they made his thighs friggin' huge, but they coated them in some fantastic details. And the same could honestly be said for the feet as well. I don't know where this foreign blue is coming from, but there is some blue on the toes over here. But honestly, this looks pretty good for a $10 figure. Heck yeah. And of course, we're going to see a lot of detail follow from the top of his neck all the way through to the bottom of his tail and to the tip of his tail as well. I think this figure might have been molded in a blue plastic and vinyl because that wasn't like that when I put the tail on. But I did just want to take the tail off to showcase the detail on the tail, the detail's tail, and yet again, looking pretty dang good. Hell yeah! I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there are some details on the roof of his mouth up here, and you will get a rather lovingly detailed tongue and bland everything else. Though I do give Playmates credit, the teeth are nicely painted. They might not be perfect, but they're a lot better than I was expecting. I don't mean to break any hearts here, but Godzilla 2014 doesn't have the hole at the back of his throat, so no atomic breath feature for this guy, at least not yet. Now, in taking a look at Godzilla's only included accessory, we get a tank, pretty bland, decently detailed, but my favorite thing about this vehicle is that, one, it is new, we haven't gotten this yet with a Godzilla or Kong figure, and the top of it can swivel. Top tier stuff right there. He can be a stamping, he can be a grabbing, and he could be a biting too. The battle damage is a little on the flat side, and the detail on this chunk of skin Swedish fish looking thing is rather nice. And when it comes to applying Godzilla's little Swedish fish chunk over here, I recommend kind of just starting with one side and then flattening it out as you get through it, and yeah, it'll go in just fine. And just overall, I think this is a great figure. I know people have their reservations with this sculpt. I know a lot of people think he looks a little bit too on the chunky side, but at face value and not taking screen accuracy into account, this is a perfectly fine figure. I'm gonna give paint a half a star. It's not the best, but where it is good, it is good. But I am most certainly going to be giving detail a solid star because, hey, it might be cheap plastic, but it looks pretty dang good, no? And now it's time for Godzilla's articulation. As demonstrated before, the mouth can open and close. Personally, I recommend keeping the mouth open as it looks better. And as I just spoiled, Godzilla's head can actually go all the way around this time with little to no resistance. And yet again, I kind of recommend keeping it at one place because this... The arms can go all the way around as well, but it's going to be one of those things where you kind of have to lightly pull out on the arms just to get them all the way around. Granted, it's a little bit easier with this arm, and I really don't think you're going to need to do that. The legs can kick up about that far and back about that far, up about this far, back about that far. Both of the ankles are going to have a swivel. Yes, you heard me right. Both ankles swivel. And there is going to be a ball joint at the tail over here, so you can go up and down. You can go left to right like so. And there's more of that blue popping up. Yeah, it's nothing crazy, but it's a ball joint in a vinyl tail. What else do you expect? He may have not gotten a solid star in terms of the paint applications, but I gotta say, I'm gonna give him a solid star for articulation. My GVK Goji's ankles don't move. I don't even know if they're supposed to move, and I don't want to attempt it because I don't want to break it. And just the fact that the head can now move so freely and memeish, I thank you, Playmates. Now, as I did with Kong, I'm going to compare Godzilla to some of the GVK iterations, and quite frankly, this one's going to be really, really short because there is no way that this is a reused Godzilla sculpt. This might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm really just preferring this figure over the GVK ones just because he's got so much more of a presence here. It might be the additionals of the orange paint, but it just looks more like Godzilla to me. I don't know. I mean, just look at the differing qualities in the head sculpts here. It's like night and friggin' day. Yeah, I know a lot of people aren't liking the fact that he's kind of looking up into the side over here, and I will say I do prefer this guy's more neutral stance, but oh man, this 2014 figure is just really, really nice. Big ol' blessings to Playmates for curling the tail up. I hate these things now. I despise them. That being said, let's compare this guy to a chunkier GVK Godzilla. And yet again, not a doubt in my mind that this guy is a completely different mold. I mean, there's just no friggin' way here. Different dorsal fins, different head, different arms, different tails. It's entirely obvious that this is a whole new sculpt. And I'm not saying people are saying that, I just wanted to present it to you all. Alrighty, so as far as everything goes, Kong currently sits at a solid star in terms of paint, detail, and articulation. Godzilla sits at a solid star in terms of detail and articulation, but a half a star in terms of paint. I'm going to be trying out something new right here. It might be entirely unneeded, but I want to try it out anyway. Welcome to a new segment I like to call the sub ratings. It's going to be a segment in some of my videos where I take a closer look at some things and rate them accordingly. Up first, Godzilla's lower jaw. That is just egregious, and you will be rewarded a half a star. Up next, let's rate the battle damage. Now, I'm not saying the battle damage on other Godzilla and Kong figures were really anything to write home about. I mean, just look at this. Here it kind of looks like Godzilla's insides are just one big blood bag about to pop. Yes, I'm fully aware something like this can't exist on the side of Godzilla, but just the fact that this is an earlier figure and the battle damage looks like this, and this is a newer figure and the battle damage looks like that, I'm feeling half a star. Same could honestly be said for Kong over here. The battle damage is just, I mean, yeah, it's just red, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more than that. Half a star. Accessory-wise, when it comes to detail, I think both of the Swedish fish chunks are going to get a solid star, and Kong's propeller chain is definitely worth a solid star. Final sub rating being, we finally get new vehicles. 2 solid stars. No, those aren't going to affect the final ratings of these two. 3 solid stars, 2.5 stars. Both fantastic figures. I've got nothing to complain about. I just kind of wanted to throw that in there, see if it sticks, and if it doesn't, I'll never do it again.
Size comparison time: small, medium, large, related stuff. A little more of the Playmates norm plus some new. Despite their minute flaws here and there, it's nice to see Playmates rock some newfound confidence in their releases. Hopefully this new line will go on to see the likes of Mutos and more of the KOTN titans and then some as time goes on. Seriously, if we don't get either of those, just stop now.
And that's about enough out of me. This new era of Playmates is proving to be interesting, and honestly, with the final products on both of these figures, I really can't complain, and I'm totally here for it. Definitely got my eye on that new Shin Godzilla and that Godzilla Terrestris. Godzilla Terrestris, though, the more I look at those pictures, the more he looks like he's just made out of vinyl. I could be wrong, though, of course, but he doesn't look all that plastic. We'll see. But anyway, that's it. See you all next time, which will be my review of the SH Monster Arts Godzilla Ultima. Finally, sorry to make y'all wait on this one. I really had to rack my brain about whether I really like this figure or not, and, well, I'm not going to divulge anything, but it's definitely going to be an interesting review. Alright, now I'm done. Goodbye.